I think one of the worst feelings as humans that we go through is feeling stuck, is feeling like either nothing that we're doing is currently working or that we're not sure what to do. And it leads to confusion and frustration. And so in today's episode, we're going to start talking about the antidote to that and start to really call out what it is in your life that's causing these problems. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 things that are keeping you stuck.
Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place, because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. So the infamous Mercury retrograde is finally direct, and you're probably starting to feel that momentum shift, which is what inspired today's conversation about getting unstuck. During that 3-week retrograde, we probably spent time reviewing, revising, and releasing things that no longer work. So I wouldn't be surprised if you took a reflection and inventory over the last 3 weeks. What has changed in your life? Have there been relationships that have fizzled out or ones that have become stronger? Have you started clearing out your closet and getting rid of clutter? That's been a massive theme over here at our house in September. Or maybe you've just been realizing that you don't want to think or feel a certain way anymore. Whatever it may be, whether it's environmental or physical, emotional or mental, you're probably noticing things are changing and you're ready to get moving forward.
And it's so big, you have to start off in the right mindset. The right mindset. In order to push forward, in order to get unstuck, you must always be in the right mindset first.
Not the left.
Oh my gosh, you're a mess. And the first thing that you really have to do, though, is you have to stop blaming others. That is one of the really big parts about being a leader and deciding to be a leader in your own life. And the antidote to that, as always, is radical responsibility. Because if you're going to make big moves in your life, what you're going to have to do is start to trust your own opinion. And what you can't do in that is blame other people. If you're waiting for somebody, if you're saying, well, I could have accomplished this, but this person, and I would have gone on a diet, but my partner's not into it, or I really want to be doing this thing, but it's always this person stopping me from it. It's you probably stopping you from it. And when you decide that it's you stopping you from it, even if it may be somebody else, when you decide that it's you stopping you from it, now you can take action. Now you're in a place where you can say, all right, I'm ready to move forward because I have decided now. The starting point of all kind of action, all kind of decision making is that deciding part where you in your heart say, I'm going to do this now, and this is what's right for me.
So take a check. See if there's anything that you're blaming on external circumstances. I'm waiting on this person or this timeline or this situation to be the perfect environment to make it happen. And is that holding you back from taking action? Which is our second tip, is not taking risks. Sometimes you just have to fucking go for it. You have to just break down the door, even if it's like locked up and barricaded. Sometimes you just have to knock right through it. And taking risks doesn't always have to mean something so crazy and violent like breaking people's door down. But taking, what? I feel like you're going to say something.
I'm picturing the person who hasn't been in a relationship in a while, or they got out of a bad relationship because they either figured out what their worth is and it's like, hey, I'm not putting up with this kind of stuff anymore, or it's just been a while since they've been in like the dating scene, especially since COVID. And so they're coming back into now in this dating mindset, or I'm ready for a relationship in my life, or I've secured myself in a certain way. I've gotten into how I feel, what I'm doing in my life, and I'm now ready to add somebody in, but they're not doing anything about it. They don't go out and meet anybody.
I want to be loved and I want to have my Prince Charming and I want to have this amazing family, but I'm not going to say yes to going on a date because the last guy never called me back.
So you get stuck. You get mentally stuck, then your heart gets stuck, and what ends up happening is you end up blaming the wrong thing. You end up saying, well, maybe it's just not right for me. And the problem at the whole time was you just didn't take a risk. And with risk, there's always inherent failure. There's always the possibility of something going wrong, something not going right. That's what a risk is. It means that at some part you may go, ugh, that didn't work. And I'm so glad that I didn't stop at the first person I ever dated. Because I would have never gotten here. And so I'm so glad I didn't start with the first business that I ever got into, or we'd never be doing this thing.
I'm glad I took a risk and asked you to marry me twice, even though you said no the first time, because that led to a greater opportunity. And it showed you like, hey, I'm for real.
So the antidote here is always taking bold action. If you haven't been taking a risk in a while, take a bold action. Try it out for a bit.
Go on a date, put on the lipstick, try that new outfit. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just something new, something different, something that shakes up your normal comfort zone.
A risk doesn't mean doing something dangerous. I'm not trying to get you to
jump out of planes.
I'm not trying to get you to jump out of any kind of plane. If that's your thing, hey, more power to you. But you have to be able to take a risk in life.
Risk looking silly, risk looking stupid, risk being judged. That's the risk we're talking about.
And you know what? What's interesting is that you always build up the risk, typically bigger in your head than it will ever be in person. Like it's almost never that bad. Because you can always go, well, that didn't work, and then go on to the next thing. So when you have an experimental process in your life, when you realize that so much of what you're doing is not to be taken seriously, if you can enter into life with a little bit more fun, you can start to realize that being stuck might be the best thing for you in the moment, so that you can have something to break out of, so that you can persevere, so that you can become the hero in your life.
Feel like a fucking champ.
Sometimes that moment in your life is the greatest precipice for you to be able to design and architect what it is that you want. If you decide, well, this has not been working for a while, I have been feeling stuck, and to get upset enough, this is the one time where I actually like to use anger. Anger can be fantastic. And that is, I'm mad enough now. I'm mad enough. I'm going to start to do something about it. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm going to get off the sideline. I'm going to start trying some new thing. I'm going to see what's going on.
So what risk could you take in your life?
And next up, which I feel like is something that almost no one ever talks about, and that is that you don't have a recovery plan. What we don't realize in life is that we are always up against different stressors. Sometimes it's a physical stress, sometimes it's mental, emotional, it could be a spiritual stress, and from every single one of those, we need to be able to recover. So if you are a person that's burning the candle at both ends, you're trying to accomplish as many things as possible, and you're wondering why you're suddenly feeling stuck, it's because you haven't given your body or your brain or maybe even your partner a moment to take a break and let the new information come in. We just recently talked about how we went on a long road trip. We went on a long road trip as part of our recovery program. We have something that we are doing at the end of the workday. We have something that we're doing at the beginning of the workday. We have the way that we set up our lifestyle on the weekends, what we're doing every month. What I have started to notice is that I love studying athletes. Athletes are one of the few people that you can look at what they're doing in the world, and that all of the money that they make is channeled through what their daily habits are. So if they're not recovered for their next game or their next match, they can't do anything. They lose out on money. So I'm always studying them so I can find out what are the best practices for the human body in terms of recovery. So many people are not adding this in. One of the big audiobooks that we listened to on our last road trip was Aubrey Marx's How to Own the Day. And in it, he talked about something that blew my mind, and that is that LeBron James sleeps 12 hours a day. 12 hours. This is a guy who spent over $100 million in his recovery facility. If some of the best people and some of the highest achievers and the biggest performers in the world are doing it, don't you think that is something that we need to start to be focused on? Recovery is something that can completely change your life and revitalize who you are and how you feel. Think about the last time you went to had a massage. The second that we got back from our road trip, all those hours spent in the car, bodies beat up, went on crazy hikes. We went to the chiropractor, had the massage. BRIT went and had her self-care stuff. She had her facial done. She got her nails done. She did all the things as part of the recovery process so that she can start getting back into that person that she knows that she is. We all need that downtime.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned habits, which is what we talked about in September in the masterclass in the club. And this month we are talking about recovery. So if you're looking for a plan to recover from the habits that have burnt you out, then joining the Elevated Life Club now would be the perfect time to dive into our live training next week, where we're sharing all about what type of recovery plan you can create for yourself in these different scenarios so that you don't feel like you're without when you are struggling.
Yeah, the time that you want the plans before you actually get into the spot. And what most people are finding out is that this comes up in their life as burnout. You know, they start to feel burnt out. And a lot of times it is because you're an overachiever. You want something more out of your life, and so you work so hard. And what we're really finding out is that relaxation is the new success. If you cannot relax in your current lifestyle, then we have a problem. And it doesn't matter what you will get, because if you cannot recover from whatever you're doing, it is not worth it. It's too much for you. It doesn't mean you can't get better at some point. It doesn't mean that you don't want to strive for more. It doesn't mean to just sit back on your haunches. It means that you have to know what it is that is going to be a requirement for you. Like for me, if we're out in a place and we've got a lot of social events going on and I've been around too many people, I need a recovery day. And if I don't have that recovery day, I'm not as good as I normally am. I need to take care of my body in a certain way so that I don't get sick. We were at a marketing conference, phenomenal marketing conference a few years back, and the guy who's up there on stage speaking, he starts talking about how many calories he burns per day walking back and forth. And it was over 10,000. It was a lot of calories. And he was talking about how he wakes up in the morning and drinks 3 liters immediately of water. He also said that he goes afterward and does ice baths. He also says that he doesn't talk for multiple days. I'm not talking about he doesn't talk to his partner. He's been gone for a week doing this marketing conference. He gets home and he tells his partner, text me. You know, he's texting her. He's texting her because he's been using his voice the entire time. People who are successful have a recovery plan. And if they don't, they have a person in place who does the recovery for them. If they don't have that, they're not going to be successful very long, because you will burn out. You will run out of steam and energy without the right practices and tools to go put in play.
Which is so important to have that support system. You know, when you hit burnout and you don't have a plan, and you don't have people to say, hey girl, hey, what's going on? Like, Mayday, Mayday, Houston, we have a problem. Then you can stay stuck in that cycle, that trap for a long period of time, which can lead to physical disease, emotional depression, can lead to a lot of bigger issues than if we would have just addressed, hey, this one thing needs to change in the beginning.
I mean, think about the people who go, I remember in your 20s, you go, it's partying, it's drinking, it's whatever. You wake up the next day, you wake up in the morning, it's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, you go to class, everything's fine. And at some point you realize you can't do that anymore.
No, you need to drink the freaking liquid IV.
Yeah.
Take some charcoal.
Your liver's not functioning the same way. You know, it's been abused too much, and you have to start to plan for what it is that you need to do for your self-care. Recovery is about self-care. And it's not just, journaling or those kind of practices, journaling, pulling your cards and more. It goes even deeper into that, because it starts to talk about how do you recover from talking to yourself bad for a long time? How do you recover from a broken relationship?
How do you recover from eating the cupcake when you're, quote, supposed to be eating healthy?
And see, and to me, a lot of times that recovery process, as you brought up, it's so important to have the right support system. And I don't always mean the person who will call you on your BS. You need that friend. We always talk about that. You need that friend in your life that will call you on the BS. But you need the other kind of person who is just 100% for whatever it is you're doing. 100%. I realized this person for me a long time ago was my mom. My mom, for whatever reason, will cheer me on no matter what it is. I mean, it is just like one of those things. She, if I call her on the phone, or if we're in person and I'm talking about something that I'm doing, her level of excitement kicks up 10 notches. And I realize, damn, man, you're inspiring me, and I'm telling you about what I'm doing. Like, how's this even working? You need somebody in your life that will build you up. You need to find somebody who will be there, who believes in you more than you believe in you. I remember Britt, when we first met, her level of belief, and that's how I felt for her. I believed in her so much more than where she was currently. I saw it. Like I saw the whole picture of like what BRIT was blossoming into. I already saw the beginning stages of what I knew that she wanted to do in her life. And it was incredible to be able to be that support system. So if you have a partner, if you need, find somebody that is going to be your support system. And this is not someone you just lean and dump everything on. I'm not talking about like not just your therapist, right? I'm talking about you talk about what your drives and your ambitions and what you're looking for in life and those kind of things. This is not just like I'm going to find somebody I'm going to dump all my problems on. They're going to tell me that I'm doing the right thing no matter what. I'm not talking about a yes man. I'm not talking about someone that won't say like, hey, that's crazy. I'm just talking about someone who will start to believe in you. Who'll say, you hell yeah, you can do that. I know you can do that. You've got that. It's that little extra belief sometimes is just the motivation that we need. Because when you feel stuck, you lack motivation, right? That's why we're stuck. There's no motivation. There's not something that's compelling us out of bed in the morning, being like, damn, I'm about to crush this day. You're sitting there going like, again. I can't believe I woke up again. You know, it's that feeling. That's that stuck feeling. I'm talking about where you wake up, you're freaking excited. It's like, yes, let's go do this. And it's that support system that you need.
So if you're looking for that environment, for that support system where you feel inspired and empowered and motivated every single day, then I highly recommend you come join us inside the club where we can be that support system for you. Every month we'll provide multiple types of yoga, meditation, and group coaching to help inspire you so that you can take the reins of your life and become the badass that you were born to be. We are so thankful for you being here. Let us know what your takeaway is. And if you've been feeling stuck, try one of these things to get that motivation moving. Until then, we'll see you next week. Peace. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.